Bulldog fans, welcome to another episode of the Terry Sanford Coaches Report. I'm your host, Coach Jeff Morehead, and with me as always, Coach Matt. Coach, welcome to the show today.
Yes, sir. Great to be here, Coach.
We're coming to you after a loss last week to Cape Fear to move our record to 6-3 on the year, 2-2 in conference. Coach, in the game, off to a solid start, a 13-0 lead after the first quarter, 2 Sebastian O'Keefe touchdowns, a 27-21 lead at the half. Just thoughts on the first half.
I thought we had a really good game plan. It was senior night over there. So, we warmed up at home, got off the bus, quick warm-up, went right to attacking, and was very pleased with the response and the way we jumped out fast on both sides of the ball and in special teams.
Yeah, Jacob Moore and Zay Washington also touchdowns in the first half, up 6 at the half. Coach, what's the message to the team when you're leading at halftime of a rivalry game?
Well, just that's what it was. It is what it is. We're up 6. We've taken advantage. They get the ball, so we've got to come out. We've got to, be strong on special teams, and then conversely try to get off the field 3 plays and out. Preferably, but just the positives of, the way we move the football, the stops, if we eliminate the little mistakes, how much further we could have been ahead.
Kind of a slow start for both sides of the ball in the third half. Cape Fear took the lead early in the third quarter and didn't relinquish it. We did add a touchdown, an 80-yard touchdown by Gavin Kraut. Coach, it's an emotional game. Everybody knows that. All the players know that. What's the message to the team and the coaching staff after a very emotional rivalry game that we came up short in? That
you've got to, it's over at that point, but we've got to learn from those mistakes and, the valuable playing time with Josh, a new sophomore at line. You've got to take those things, eliminate those mistakes, identify them first, through film and discussion with the coaching staff, then eliminate those mistakes. To be honest with you, I would much rather play the 71st, the Jack Britt, the Cape Fears, because you're going to get better, and the ultimate goal is to make that run during the playoffs. And, like when we went up to the 10-0 team a couple of years ago, and we were, huge underdogs. We didn't feel like we were underdogs because of the coaching staff, the time that they put in, and the players and how we move pieces around. So you've got to just keep reminding them that that's the key, and that's what this program's built on.
With the playoffs right around the corner, we've always scheduled harder games in non-conference. Yes. We always feel it was a great atmosphere Friday night at Cape Fear.
Yes.
That's a fun environment to play in. That's a fun environment to coach in. Yes, really you can take a lot from the experience, even though you come up short, wins and losses, things like that. But you can definitely take that experience into the playoffs where it should be a great atmosphere. I'm 99.9% confident in saying that we are going to host a playoff game next Friday night after our final regular season game at Grays Creek on Friday. But just all that can help the team down the road.
Yeah, and that's why you play those games, and you want to build off of that. If you just play the game and you move on to the next time, and the result and the outcome is everything, then you never build. And as well as I do, we've been together for over a decade, and most people on this coaching staff have. And it's how we've built the program. We want to move pieces around, not be afraid to do that, and kind of find out, just like we mentioned Josh moving somebody to defensive end. You want to try to tweak it and get that much better for the playoffs, because you're going to need every little bump up in those areas in order to advance.
Kind of a different show for our fans today. One player guest, Jacob Moore, our quarterback. All of our Bulldog fans know what kind of season he has.
Unreal.
We've also had 2 special guests, our athletic director, Mr. Rangel McLaurin, and our principal, Dr. Doug Massengill. They'll be joining us after the break.
Go Dogs.
Hey everyone, this is Brian Moore, your Athletic Booster Club president here at Terry Sanford. Just asking you to please go to thecoachesreport.com and subscribe to our amazing, one of the only high school podcasts in the country. So we'd appreciate if you would go support and share and see all the information coming up in the weeks forward and the past game. We really appreciate it, and go Dogs.
Welcome back to the Terry Sanford Coaches Report. Coach Mack, our first guest of the week.
My pleasure, Coach. Our first guest is none other than Mr. Mack, our athletic director, Mr. McLaurin. Welcome to the show.
It's Pleasure to be here, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Rangel, welcome to the show. We're getting towards the end of the fall season. I know playoffs are around the corner for us in soccer. Some sports are done, and we're getting ready to move on to winter sports. But how would you assess the play of our fall sports teams this season?
I think overall it has been a tremendously successful season. Looking at all the sports, all of our progressions, our ability to jump in and to make some improvements where necessary. We are pleased to have so many postseason appearances, both in the regionals and sports like golf and tennis and those sorts of things, and glad to have students going to the state rounds as well. Not to mention in cross country under new coaching leadership, doing very well this year. Just excited to see them grow and excited for what our sports are still in and going to do.
Yeah. Well said.
So our girls tennis team, it's been a crazy week weather-wise in Fayetteville and a lot of parts of the state. We are playing in the East Finals against East Chapel Hill. I don't know if that is today on Wednesday or Thursday. Just got weather. It's all weather permitting. We've had Zoe Dorsey, who was in the cross-country state finals this week. Volleyball made the state playoffs. Girls golf, we had a player in the state championship. We could go on and on, but it's, we talked about success with wins and losses and, playing in the playoffs and all that. But how else do you measure the success for a team besides just the wins and losses?
Jeff, I think what speaks to that beyond wins and losses, the success of teams has to do a lot with the quality of experience. It's important about the experience that students are having, one with their coaching, mentorship, the others when it comes to camaraderie with teammates and their ability to work along with others. The more that I hear students talk about teams and we're family and brotherhoods and sisterhoods, I'm really beginning to think that students are getting the idea of what the power of team is beyond wins and losses.
And that leads to students growing, as people. So many of the lessons they learn on the field, in practice, the locker room, they carry on in life. So how do you feel when you see students, maybe they've had issues with grades, but they're playing a sport and that's helping them in the classroom? How does it make you feel when you see players grow on and off the field?
Of course, it's just an amazing feeling to see where they start and then where they have progressed to. So many of them, not just speaking about academics, but they have boosts in confidence. Yeah. That's rare, and that enables them to begin to put themselves out there. I see a lot of students who participated in teams, running for courts, running for homecoming courts, now running for student government association. So I think the athletics has a lot to do with the confidence that they have in the school building, period. And to see so many of them put themselves out there and become leaders inside the school is wonderful to see.
Just being leaders in the school was what I was wanting to talk about. And Coach Mack, all the teachers know who the athletes are. They get rosters. They know, you're going to leave early for a game. We're wearing our polo on game day. They're wearing their jersey on game day. When you see football players come in the program as ninth graders, maybe having some issues, in the classroom, behavior-wise, grade-wise, when you see them grow, how does that make you feel?
Well, I think it's like Mr. Back said, the confidence. When you see them a part of a team, when they're doing these things daily, the discipline. I always say discipline is love. Kids really want the discipline. They want to be disciplined. They want to get better at different things. They just don't, that embarrassment factor, that a little bit of fear, and the confidence from the coaching staffs of all these really all our sports is really, to me, the major key. You see these kids getting confident, kind of growing, coming out of their shell, and it can't help but, permeate through the classroom.
A lot of times when there's an issue with our student athletes, the teachers come directly to the coaches
right away, and
they ask for help. What can I do? And we oftentimes do some activities with those players to get them refocused so they're no longer an issue, but they're definitely held to a higher standard. Rangel, we had a great start to the school year with the big win over 71st prior to school starting. How important is school spirit and sportsmanship in our sports program at Terry Sanford?
Jeff, it absolutely means everything. Both of them when it comes to school spirit, student participation. Those things drive the day. And so we're excited about seeing a boost in those kinds of things. Yes. Sportsmanship goes without saying, playing classy, winning with grace, those kinds of things, and even taking losses with the same level of grace is important for us.
Well said.
It's been a challenging week with weather. Some of our, volleyball is inside, but a lot of our fall sports are outside. The challenges that people don't see on the athletic director when it's time to reschedule because of weather and other issues that pop up.
It's quite a challenge indeed. Saturdays and Sundays are really weather watching days. And seeing what the week was going to give meant that first thing Monday morning, everything was changing around. When you have 2 soccer games to schedule, they're up against a seeding deadline, and then the weather pushes everything back 3 days.
I love the playoffs.
It's a lot to contend with, but we get in and make it happen, and we're thankful for the cooperation of coaches and visiting teams as well.
Yeah, a lot of coordination between us and the visiting school, or both schools are involved. All right, real quickly, winter sports actually start practice today or tryouts today. Today is officially day 1. Just some goals and hopes you have for our winter and then our spring season as well.
I would say one is always record participation, that more kids are finding their way in like never before, finding their space, even just to have the confidence to try out, 100%. Whether they've made final teams or not. Just getting more and more interested, and then visibility of the programs. We have a lot of programs that are having their interest meetings right now after school. Bowling, softball, lacrosse have already held interest meetings trying to get their sports out there so students will know what they're about, what they have to offer, and hopefully having students come to participate.
We have some teams that have yet to play this year that have high expectations. They've had a great few years. Girls basketball made deep runs in the playoffs, great record the last few years in the spring. Baseball, we talked about Coach Guy's impact last week. Boys golf is potentially having a big year, and our tennis team is always solid as well. It's exciting times for us. A lot of great things happening in our entire athletic program. FTS Athletics. Rangel, appreciate you coming on today.
Absolutely.
Yes, we're back after these messages to preview our game versus Grays Creek on Friday night.
Go Dogs.
Welcome back to the Terry Sanford Coaches Report. Coach Mack, our first guest of the week.
My pleasure, Coach. The first guest of the week is none other than our senior quarterback, J-Dog, Mr. Jacob Moore. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Jacob, welcome back to the show. You've had a great year for us, and we all knew that coming into the season. Are you leading the team any differently in week 10 or 11 than you did early to start the year?
No, sir. You got to push these guys, and you got to win. You have to push all the young people, like sophomores and freshmen. You got to push all them, and that's how you win.
Pushing guys. At this point in the year, Coach, we've been practicing.
Yep.
A lot of practice time in the summer, and we're at week 11 in the regular season. Just do you see that in practice while you're watching, walking around with the offense and defense and so on?
Yeah, you really do. When you have special leaders, it's one thing to be a great football player. It's another one to be a leader of your peers, of young men. And, you put a little extra on them, with Jacob and this senior class. We tell them, hey, look, you're good. It's okay if you're great. We'll be very good. But if you can bring the young guys along and the inexperienced ones, give them confidence, just like we were talking with, our athletic director about giving them that confidence. I really think that's what is the key for our program, taking them to the next level.
It's with the weather this week. We've been inside. We've been watching a lot of film. Just with all the practices that we have, how are you and your teammates staying motivated at this point? What's driving you guys at this point in the year?
Honestly, what's driving me is the loss to Cape here. for sure. And, I mean, with the weather this week, and you got to practice alone type thing, watch film, and do stuff on your own so that we don't get off track.
You know, just when the offense is in the classroom watching film, what kind of things is Coach Van pointing out? What kind of things is the offense talking about while the film is up on the board?
Like who are the most important players, and who are their weaknesses, and what coverage they play, and just trying to beat them.
You know, it's football in a classroom, Coach. It's like having a class at school, and you can definitely learn things by watching film, drawing some plays up on the board, you know, talking about each individual person. You know, football is something that you have to learn and spend a lot of time in the film room.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, for a lot of teams and for us, you know, to take that next step and be the program that we want to be, that's the key. A lot of people don't know how to watch film, and making your best players and really all your players understand what the goal of the film is. Just like he said, you know, who's my read man on this play? When it's third down and long, what coverage are they going to be in? When you can take those tools and, you know, you have those readily at hand on Friday night, you just got to make the game a lot easier.
You said a great phrase there. Learn how to watch film. You're not watching it for the highlights that you might have had in the previous game. You're not watching to laugh at somebody who maybe did something not good. You're watching certain guys. Do they give away certain things pre-snap? They're looking at formations. You're looking at where certain guys are on the field, because that helps you see the plays so much faster on Friday nights.
So true.
You know, how proud of you are what you and the offense has done? Because you guys had a great first half. Some great things happening. I knew, just hearing you guys talk, I felt like you guys could really exploit some of the weaknesses of the Cape Fear defense, and that was evident in the first half. Just how proud of you are of what the guys have done so far this year?
I'm very proud of like young people stepping up, like the line. Everybody like doubted us line wise, and so
great point.
And so we just need to play.
And just, Coach, we had a sophomore make his first start at right tackle last week. Just and what he did at practice. What did you guys see to kind of throw him out there in a big game for us?
Well, he's quietly confident. You know what I mean? And he's got, you know, he's really cerebral. He doesn't talk a lot, so you have to drag it out of Josh. But he watches, and once you teach him something one time, he picks up on it really quickly. Those are the things that you know that you can bring somebody along like that. And, you know, in a big game, it's a bigger chance, but it's also a bigger chance not to play him when he can give you the best chance to win that game and move along in the playoffs.
All right, one game left in the regular season. We are going to make the playoffs, and with a win Friday night, we will host a playoff game. There's so much to play for. We beat Graves Creek Friday if we do what, Jacob?
Execute. And offense and defense need to be on the same page. I feel like our losses versus Britt and Cape Fear and Scotland, one side has been on and one side has been off. And you can't win a football game when doing that.
Yeah,
all three phases.
Defense, offense, special teams. At this point in the year, we talked about this in the big games. You know, you got to be locked in totally, and every play is so important. Jacob, we appreciate you coming on the show again this year. Looking forward to you having a great finish.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully about 7 or 8 more games to your high school career.
Sir, thank you.
We are back after these messages.
Thank you.
Go Dogs.
Welcome back to the Terry Sanford Coaches Report. Coach Mack, I'll introduce our next guest of the week.
Next guest is a special guest. He's the head of the school, Dr. Massengill. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be with you, gentlemen.
Dr. Massengill joined the FTS community around July 1st. Just how's your adjustment been to Terry Sanford?
It's been an amazing transition. You know, I've said to many people, you know, school is school. It's just magnitudes of scale. But the nice thing about Terry Sanford with the community and staff support that we have is I've got a whole lot more people to be able to delegate to support our work and to help us keep the vision alive. And so it's been a wonderful transition, and I've just been incredibly impressed with the immersive support that I've had from across all segments of our community. Could not be more pleased.
You know, awesome. we hosted the Jamboree and then hosted 71st. That was 2 huge events that happened prior to school starting. just when you sat back and looked at those two events, just what were your thoughts on those two Friday nights?
Well, those two events happened prior to school even starting. So right. I could not have asked for a better sort of reset for student culture. One of the things that students had told me in focus groups prior to starting is that they wanted some more support when it came to building a more positive and cohesive student culture. And so I tried to ensure that we had the things in place to ensure that they were getting what they felt like they needed. And man, did it really pay off. Our student section has been packed for every game so far. I think we have more folks in the student section for the away game at Cape Fear than we've had at regular games. So it's been really exciting to see that student culture build, and we hope to be able to maintain that into the winter sports season and maintain that as we see these guys go into the playoffs, because we know we're going to have a deep run.
Just the crowd and the energy and the support had really been missing from our football games the past couple years. So I see exactly what you're talking about. The crowds have been great. The energy has been great. And that just says so much about the positive culture going on right now at Terry Sanford, Coach Mack.
It's true. He's given a lot of credit. Doc's given a lot of credit to and it takes everybody to do it, but his leadership coming in with a clear vision, making decisions right away. And I just can't say enough about your leadership and where it's allowed us to go from there and the impetus it's done for sports. And it really starts in the school. You could see, we talked about it, Coach, you could see a direct change the first week the kids walked in, and it's just been building momentum since then.
The building this year has been very smooth, a lot of positive things going on. Dr. Massengill and his staff, Mr. McLaurin, Ms. Walker, Ms. Price, Ms. Mitchell, the teachers, we're all trying to do the best we can to change the building. What's going on in classrooms, the hallways, and I've seen a noticeable difference, just a lot of positive energy in the building like we talked about. Just some quick thoughts on fall sports overall, Dr. Massengill.
I've been incredibly impressed. I think, and I'm a little biased, but I think I'm right. I think we've got the best consolidated coaching staff of any high school in the district. The work that our coaches put in and day out, both on and off the field, and supporting our teachers is just absolutely incredible. And so I think that pays dividends. You add the student culture component to that. You add consistency of student expectations to that, both on the field and off the field. And you got a recipe for success. And I think we're seeing that play out, and I hope that we'll continue to see that play out in winter and spring sports and as we go into next year and build.
Well said.
Terry Sanford is known for community support. A lot of alums live in the area, and their kids go to Terry Sanford, which is just great to see. Just some thoughts on the FTS family, the surrounding areas of the district.
Oh, it's second to none. I've had the privilege to lead several schools going into my 10th year as a school administrator. One of the things that I'll say is Terry Sanford is one of those unique communities where it's ask and you shall receive. And that has been something that has been incredibly heartening to me as a principal to know if there is a need, I can pick up the phone and have that need fulfilled. And it really makes for a positive school environment when we just feel enveloped by the community from a position of support.
It says so much when people want to give back. They want to give back their time. They want to give back to the building, which benefits all of our student athletes, and that does leak into the school building and benefit all of our students and teachers as well. Just real quick, just some plans that you have for the school for the rest of the school year.
So the method to the madness really for the rest of the school year is to continue the positive culture that we're trying to build, ensure that continued consistency in terms of student and staff expectations, and just ensure that folks feel supported in the things that we have to do. We have to do school. We have to keep the main thing, but we want to ensure that the student experience, whether it's sports, whether it's extracurriculars, that they just feel supported, they feel heard, and they feel valued. And so that's the big goal, and we feel like that's going to pay dividends in the classroom and on our athletic fields.
It's hard to believe that we're close to a one third of the way through the school year already. And it's with the holidays approaching, it's going to go by so much faster, and we're going to be in spring semester before we know it. Dr. Massengill, thank you for all that you do.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you all that
Thank
you have
you very
done,
much.
and your staff, all the positive things going on at FTS right now. We are back after these messages.
Go Dogs.
back from our final timeout. Coach, we go to an old conference rival. We've had some great games with Grays Creek over the years. I go back to that 2015. That was actually the conference championship between two teams that were actually 9-1 that night. We won the game to win the conference. We are at Grays Creek Friday night. They are 4-5 on the season with wins over Pine Forest, Westover, Douglasburg, and a win last week at Purnell Sweat. Coach, just some quick thoughts on Grays Creek.
They're going to, first of all, I can't stand the wing tee offense, so that's coming. Fortunately for us, we played them in the past and played some wing tee, and, the staff is so experienced that, we know exactly what to do and how to prepare for it, so that's a plus. But just you got to be patient, Our guys, you can't pin your ears back and go running up the field or you get trapped, and that's exactly what they want you to do. So assignment football is going to be really big this week.
Coach John Sherman is the head coach at Grays Creek. Him and I coached together many years ago when we were much younger in our coaching career. He was the wide receivers coach at Jack Britt when I was the defensive backs coach.
Yep.
And so me and him, our positions went one-on-one a lot. And he is a very competitive and fiery guy, and you can see that on the sideline. And I know his team will take on his personality. Well you said. Mentioned the wing tee offense. That is a very it's a difficult offense to practice because by the time by the time your scout team figures out what they're supposed to do with all the motions and alignments and all that, it's Friday, and so you really don't get a great look at that offense till that first series on Friday night. 140 yards passing per game, 180 yards rushing per game. Just some odd formations, a lot of motions by the backs and wide receivers. You have to line up right, and you have to be disciplined. Like you said, our defensive line cannot run upfield. It's about reading your keys and being physical, Coach.
Yeah, it really is. And, that's where the great coaching at each position comes in. We've got a coach at each position to be able to do that. But you have to also, when we talk about film, you have to show them on film that when you are reckless like that it causes, it causes more damage. So it's a patient week. I think discipline's the word, assignment football. Conversely, on offense, I feel like that, there's some things that we can exploit, but they are a very good team that plays very hard, just like, the character of their coach.
It's weather has impacted this week. We were inside in the gym in the film room a lot on Monday. We got out on Tuesday to see about 25 plays. I would much rather be outside 100%. Than inside, especially at this point of the year. I thought the team had a very good practice. Proud of the guys dealing with the conditions, but that's a part of football. Football weather is definitely here for all the fans and players. Coach, just real quick about their defense.
Yeah, defensively, got some pretty good size on the defensive line. Some big kids with a little bit of experience. Linebackers traditionally at Grays Creek run to the ball really well, pretty physical. DBs, they've played some guys in the defensive backfield. It's got a range from seniors and we'll throw a sophomore in there occasionally, but it's pretty much what you see is what you get on film. It's like they don't want to do too much. They just want to let their defensive guys know what their assignment is and go play football. So we've got to fortunately for us, with the multiple formations, should be an advantage because they're going to have to do a lot of studying. And with the rain this week, not sure how much outside they're going to get to actually come up with that.
Coach, Grays Creek has a ton to play for right now. They are in the playoffs, and I've seen some projections that we could actually end up hosting Grays Creek next Friday night.
Yeah,
I know
that.
some things got to work out, but I saw that a couple weeks ago. So to see a team back-to-back. Also, what might motivate our guys is that Grays Creek has 2 East-West football players, and so that may motivate some of our guys that maybe weren't chosen for that team. But nonetheless, we have to bring it Friday night, Coach.
Yeah, I like the comment about that. That was very perplexing, having coached on the East-West team. We've probably got 4 or 5 guys that could easily play on that squad. So, hey, sometimes it is what it is, and it is what you make it. So Friday night, you'll get a chance to showcase their abilities, and there's always, like I told them, there's always a chance that somebody can't play in that game, and we want to leave no doubt.
Just real quick, our JV football game is still tomorrow night. We have pushed the game back to 7:30. Soccer has to get in a game because their playoff deadline is this weekend. So soccer actually plays Wednesday night and Thursday night. It is their senior night. So before you come out to check out the JV game, show our soccer program some support. Coach Barber does a great job with that. We are a 7 o'clock kickoff Friday night at Grays Creek. Hope to see all our Bulldog fans out at Grays Creek. About a 15-minute drive, not too bad. There's some Halloween stuff you could do Wednesday or Thursday night and make it to the football game on Friday night.
Got to tweak it.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.